Greetings. I'm Thomas Caldwell of the Aurelian Column, and this is Movie Night. Sometimes it's a good idea to look at oneself from the perspective of those who dislike or even hate you, and also to be brutally honest about the darker side of humanity. Today's movie is not easy watching, certainly not family entertainment. In fact, it is arguably entertainment? Anyways, it's about a dark topic. And it's a movie that is polarizing. When it came out, it had an all-star cast. Some people absolutely thought it was genius and a work of art, and others thought it was absolutely horrible. I'll let you research who said what about it. All I'll say is that it is an amazing creation, and if anything, it gets you thinking. The movie I'm talking about is Dogville, starring Nicole Kidman, Lauren Bacall, and James Caan. Yes, Lauren Bacall, that Lauren Bacall, the one who was married to Humphrey Bogart. One of her last movies, actually, which was written and directed by a Norwegian by the name of Lars von Trier. He's made some interesting movies over the years that were all controversial, dark, and dealt with a side of humanity that nobody wants to look at. Since the movie came out in 2003, it's been considered a bit of a classic, but it's one that you might want to look at, depending on the mood you're in. The story takes place in the 1930s in a mountain town, somewhere, we think, in Colorado. It has an old abandoned silver mine and a population that is small and very much in keeping with the times. Poor, uneducated, and arguably moral and immoral at the same time. Now, the movie itself looks more like a play. It was done on a soundstage with the town outlined on the ground. And this is really weird. A few props here and there, and sound effects. But it's a very, very focused movie on the dialogue and the characters. There's no distractions, which was a bit ingenious in many respects. Now, the story revolves around a woman who is escaping the mob, played by Nicole Kidman, who comes across this town which is literally at the end of the road. The only thing beyond is the mountains. And she's befriended by the local philosopher who thinks of himself as a writer, even though he doesn't write anything. And the town decides to take her in. An act of kindness, which slowly, over time, turns into cruelty. I won't go into too much more of the story. All I will say is that the movie has a very satisfying ending, especially if you've sat through what is close to 3 hours. Now, Lars von Trier is pretty much a character in this movie as well, even though he's behind the camera. This guy is, wow, he has a background. I think everything started off when his mother told him that his father was not really his father. She instead decided to breed with someone else. So, as I think it was conveyed to him, he would have the genes of an artist. This guy's done some interesting movies through the years, and it's fascinating to see, even though he has a reputation of being very abusive and very hard to work with, a lot of people have decided to work with him. People like Nicole Kidman at the height of her career, Lauren Bacall, my goodness. Dogville is also narrated by John Hurt. Remember him? His narrative explaining what's going on does a rather wonderful job of making it sound like an intellectual exercise. Again, this is a movie that you don't so much watch as you endure. And it does make you squirm. I recently rewatched this prior to doing this review, and it reminded me of when I first saw it, which was way back when it came out. Yeah, it's a bit of a piece here. Mr. von Trier had not been to the United States when he did this movie. It was all done in Denmark. And he is a fear of flying, much like Stanley Kubrick, who was a real saint compared to this guy when it comes to being a working director. The movie does have a distaste, obvious distaste, for American civilization, culture, and its people, which is a bit interesting. In fact, this movie, although it won awards all over the place in other countries, it wasn't mentioned anywhere in the United States. No Golden Globe or no Academy Award nomination whatsoever. A lot of critics hated it. But it does offer an interesting perspective, more than anything, on how dark the human psyche can get and how the best of intentions can lead to the most evil of behavior. And that's what's most disturbing about this film, is you are trained in on the people. No sets, no backgrounds, no beautiful vistas of mountains, just a ramshackle little town with people who have a darkness in them like we all do. And that's what really shakes you up about this film. This is not something you're going to watch and enjoy as much as you are going to watch and learn, which is why I'm recommending it. Movies can't all be about fun and entertainment. Sometimes they have important lessons and perspectives. Again, the movie is Dogville. It came out in 2003, starring Nicole Kidman, Lauren Bacall, James Caan, and many others, and was narrated by John Hurt. It was distributed by many organizations around the world, including Icon, which was the company founded by Mel Gibson, and Columbia Universal. You can find it online, some places probably for free, not that it should be available for free, and you can still get it on DVDs here and there. It's a movie that will teach you an awful lot about how people view the United States from other parts of the world, but also it'll show you the dark side of humanity that all of us possess. That's it for today. If you appreciate my work, please like, subscribe, and share. Share with your friends and share with your enemies whether or not they like Americans. I can be reached at feedback@aureliancolumn.com. That's feedback@aureliancolumn.com. I'm up on X. My handle there is MICCAMPEN, MICCAMPEN. This podcast originates at Substack. My handle there is aureliancolumn.substack.com. Until we meet again, be good, be safe, be vigilant, and remember, don't forget the popcorn, and always watch the credits until the very end. Good day.